Hello and howdy, everyone. So sorry about the confusion with times today. I know TJ was on earlier and I was supposed to be on sooner. The problem is that I live in Central Time, but I generally speak like I live in Eastern Time. So as you can imagine, that doesn't work for life. So, anywho, my name is Alyssa Nicoll. So wonderful to have you on the stream today. Today, we're going to be going over some fun UI tidbits, which we'll get into in a moment. Right now, I need to make the Chrome window a little bit larger. So let's go to the right side of the screen, and you can't see my terminal, but that's okay. I'll tell you what's going on. So my name is Alyssa Nicoll, and I am the Angular developer advocate for Kendo UI. And what that means is that I get to usually, outside of the COVIDs, travel around, speak at conferences, talk about our wonderful products at Progress, including Kendo UI, which is a component library. I love Angular. I've been doing it for quite a while, since the Angular JS days, if you know what that means. But I wanted to create a portion of our Code It Live channel that was just for UI things. So just for talking about user interface, user experience, how to create things with HTML and CSS, and make them happen and make them beautiful. So that is, I'll usually be on for a couple hours Wednesday afternoons. So if you are into the Angulars, there's Angular Air, which is a podcast I'm on almost every Wednesday, and it's on the YouTube. So look it up, Angular Air, if you're a fan of the Angulars. But right after that, around like 2 p.m. Eastern, nope, did it again. 2 p.m. Central. I can't do it. I used to live in Florida for 9 years. And so it's like my brain is hardwired to say Eastern. It's rough, Bob. It's rough. Currently in Kansas City, though, where apparently the barbecue is good. I don't know. I haven't found an epic barbecue place here. It was actually better in Florida. So long story short, 2 p.m. Central Time. I'll just hop on for a couple hours every Wednesday and we'll talk about UI things. It might be an Angular, might not, might just be CSS. I would love if you reached out to Kendo UI on Twitter or myself at Alyssa Nicoll and you're like, hey, I've got this UI problem. I need to make this happen. I would absolutely love to tackle your UI problems or, just any problems. No, I'm kidding. Let's stick to UI problems for now. That'd probably be best. So as you can probably see, I have Candy Box open. Raise your hand in the chat if you've ever played Candy Box. My husband thinks it's kind of the silliest thing ever because, it's an ASCII art game. Audio is only coming in through one channel. All right, 1 second. I think I know how to fix this. It's so exciting whenever you get a bug or something and, a ticket to do something and you're like, wait, I think I actually know how to do this. I think I've seen this before. Okay, let's see. I think what I need to do is mix my audio. So, TJ, let's see, filters. I am going to done. So currently using Streamlabs OBS, and I know there is a way to mix my audio to mono, essentially. You'd think it would be more apparent. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to open the Googles. Mix audio to mono, or maybe it's set. Streamlabs OBS is actually slobs, is what people call it, which is hilarious. Mono stereo option. Is this just a theoretical, it would be great if this existed? Streamlabs OBS to mono. Seeing a bunch of things. Guide to audio for Twitch streamers. You know, I often run into this, and I wonder if it's got something to do with my mic box. I don't know, Bob. I don't know. Properties, create an output. I'm not seeing an easy option. So if anybody in the chat is like, A, you're driving me crazy with your mono audio, and B, I know exactly where to go in slobs, then I'll totally fix it. But otherwise, yay for mono. Or not mono, really. What is the opposite of mono? Stereo, but I don't think it counts as stereo if you're not coming through on both sides. Yuck, yuck, yuck. Anywho, we were talking about Candy Box, obviously the most important thing of the day. It's this incredible ASCII art game. You just have to go to candybox2.github.io, and it's like this little adventure game where you get to like battle things, and like it's just fantastic. There's potions and quests, and it's like one of those clicker games that like you like an idle clicker game. So while I'm away, I'm generating lollipops and candies from my lollipop farm with my lollygators. But anyways, I wanted to open the stream today because A, this is fantastic UI. I love it. It drives some people batty, but I freaking love ASCII. B, because I think it's always good to have something to de-stress about whenever things aren't working during the day. I just open my Candy Box app and it's all happy again. So, but yes, today, me and my mate, TJ Van Tol, really cool bloke. He was on earlier. He knows the Reacts, and I know Angular, not React. So prepare yourself for some Googling. I wanted to basically grab this Gong app that he and I have been working on off and on. And the whole idea behind this Gong app is that you're basically standing around the office. In our physical office, we have a gong, and there's like a big sale or something exciting, and they like ring it, and then everybody around claps and they're like, woo, and they talk about what happened. And so we wanted to replicate this kind of togetherness experience around the gong virtually. And so before we've been like pushing it off. We were like, yeah, we'll give you the app soon, everybody. Because we had some Firebase bugs last stream, and that was super fun. So what we're going to do in this stream so let me actually show you the app. So it says like what's going down, right? You're in this, ID equals 16, this version of the Gong app. You'll get a notification in Teams is kind of how we're envisioning it, of like, hey, this went down, come celebrate around the gong. You go to the gong, you ring it, and there is an audio effect. You can see in the browser tab, it is playing the gong sound, which I think lasts for like 11 seconds. There is also, it tells you at the top, it'll pull the title in from Firebase of they just closed this deal with this person or this company. And then it says the number of times the gong has been rang. So that will keep going up. And if you're wondering about the codes, you can go to GitHub and TJ Van Tol. It's on his repo. And let me actually just pull it up for you, darlings. GitHub is the place to go. I think I can just like TJ, Van Tol, this one. Yeah. So on TJ's GitHub, Ring the Gong is the name of it. So if you wanted to pull it down and play with it and maybe be like, look, Alyssa, this is the correct way to do the thing that you're doing in React, because you've never done React before. But I was thinking it wouldn't be too React intense, because you'll see the feature. The feature that I want to add is, yes, you're at the gong. Yes, you see how many times it's been rang. But what I feel is missing is like the people aspect, right? Like, who's ringing this gong? Who's here with me? And so what I would love to close out this application with and be able to ship it is a list of like names of everyone who's standing around the gong virtually right now, ringing it with you and celebrating this win. And I thought it'd be super fun if we put the names in the background, and they're kind of like whenever you ring the gong and you've got this party going on the colors, that we would like have the names in the background animating while the 11-second gong noise is ringing. And so it's kind of a way of being like, oh, look, there's all these people and they're standing around with me and it's exciting. I know it's not the same, obviously, as being in person, but that's something I really love to do, is find ways to bring real life interactions into the web and to try and fill a hole. And especially right now, whenever we can't actually physically be with each other. So yes, TJ Van Toll / Ring the Gong if you want to play along. So I legit just pulled it down, had some funky SCSS errors. I was like, well, that's new. TJ was debugging on Slack with me beforehand. He's like, I think it has to do with node versions. Yeah, I think everything in life really comes down to node versions. So I just wiped out my node modules, reinstalled, and went to ID of 16, and I saw this version of the gong with our little Kondoka guy down there. So yes, and then of course I have, let me see, I think VS Code is showing for you all. I'm going to make this a bit smaller. Thank you, Gong app. So we have, this is how we do it. I do it like that. There we go. Beautiful. So we're inside of our Gong application. Can I make it that large, or does it cut off for you? Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. We'll totally pull up our Chrome window when we need to. So I wanted to kind of walk you through a little bit of it. We have our app.js, which I forgot we did that. What was that for? I think we were going to create a feature. Don't you love that whenever you have like half a feature in there? A feature so that you could, oh, that's right. Whenever we were inputting names before and we were pulling them from Firebase, we were assigning, I think, a random emoji to kind of go with your name like an avatar. So that's why we have the world's longest emoji list in here. But here's the JSX, aka in Alyssa's terms, the HTML for our React app. And we're pulling in the counter, the Kondoka, and the gong, which it's my understanding, feel free to correct me, these are like components. Again, I've only ever messed with Angular. So I think of these like our components because they're in a components folder first off. And it's kind of how you create, isolate, and pull in a component. And so it's got things like the counter that we positioned over the top of the gong. And then the gong, which is actually SVG inline, which was fun to implement inside of JSX if you've never done that. And then we also have our Kondoka, which is also inline SVG. And I replaced, so our Kondoka usually has I don't even know what it's called. I think I put it in the CSS. It's like a stick that the Kondoka holds. Holla if you know what I'm talking about. Anyways, we replaced the stick that the Kondoka holds with the Gong app stick. And so today I just wanted to, like I said, get some names, get them in the background, style them semi-beautifully, and animate them on gong ring. That's a thing. Gong ring. On the gonging. So I don't need these open. We're really just going to work inside of the app.js. I could make like a names component. Not going to for right now. But what I am going to do is I have another application. New window. I wonder if you can see this. So I'm opening my Tour of Heroes application that I have been redoing for Kendo UI because it kind of needed a facelift. If you've ever played with the Tour of Heroes demo app for Angular, well, she ugly and she could use some help. So inside of the Tour of Heroes app, I actually have a list of heroes that I customized. And so I'm just going to grab this list and rename it. Actually, let's name it instead of names like people. Yeah, people, that makes sense. And so they just have literally a random ID assigned to them and a name. And if any of you are bronies out there, I am an honorary brony. Yes, I realize you have to be a boy to be a brony, but I was made an honorary brony because of my love of My Little Pony. So I replaced all the heroes with My Little Pony characters. You're welcome. So we're going to use that name list today because I really just want to get to the styling part and the UI part of it. I'm going to actually make TJ replace. I'm going to make him replace these My Little Pony characters the next time we're together with legit names being pulled in from Firebase. So, I mean, or not, we could just always be surrounded by ponies. Okay, so let us see. Okay, so we have our list of people, and we're going to go down into the first thing I would do is that I am going to do. If I was tackling this by myself, I'd be like, well, I need to loop through these people and display them here. And I legitimately have, I could do it in Angular, but if we're doing it in the JSX, I'm kind of at a loss. So I'm going to pull up my Chrome and we're going to do it how real developers do it, which is loop in JSX. Sure. And then the first one, I'd be like, yeah. So this looks, we've got our items, our 4, we're looping. Okay, so any of these will really work, I'm thinking. She says with trepidation in her voice. This one has the most logic in the markup. And so I'm going to choose it because that sounds horrible. No, it looks the cleanest. I realize that this is probably a much cleaner way to do it. But, yeah, I know, Ed. I only have mono left. I know. I really have no idea how to fix it. I'm in slobs. And so, again, if anyone is like, hey, you just apply the blah, blah, blah filter. Maybe. I don't know. I literally have no idea how to fix it. I forgot to deploy the feet. Yeah, inside joke. But yes, I definitely forgot to deploy the feet. Okay, back to what we were, right. We were looking at looping. So I'm just going to grab this UL, as all good developers do. And I think we're going to just probably position it based on the body or fixed. So we can just put it here. Instead of elements, we want to loop through people. And we don't need the index. So I'm just going to completely get rid of that because I plan on using nth child. So I'll show you that in a moment. Value isn't very descriptive. Person. And instead of person, we want to say person.name to pluck off the name out of there. Yeah. I think that makes sense, except for the code is behind my head. You're welcome. Okay. So we have a UL. We're saying people.map person, returning an li with the person's name. This makes sense? Question mark? I think it makes sense. Is it working? Let's find out. Oh, I mean, that's gorgeous, right? It's a start. We have names showing up. That's exciting. Okay, so let me go back to our code. And so we have the name showing up. I need a way to select it instead of it just being a random names, people. It's people that I'm looping through, but it's names that I'm displaying. So I'm going to stick with names. And then we're inside of our app.css, which has a whole bunch of goodness in it. I am going to, Kendoka styles. So I want to be above our media queries. At the very bottom, we have some styles for the Kendoka. So I like to leave that at the very bottom, along with the styles for our background rave that's happening. So I'm going to go up to the middle, I think. I like to do it in order of what's on the screen. And so we're obviously below like the H1 and the H2. We don't have the emoji stuff anymore, but that's okay. We'll probably bring it back. So I'm probably just going to go right in here because we want to sandwich the names in front of the backgrounds, but behind basically everything else. So we're going to say UL names. Let's see, what do I want to do? I want to say Z index of -1. And let's go put you on the right side of the screen and you on the left side of the screen. Actually, we're going to make you bigger and we're going to pull up our inspector and see. Can you see our inspector? Yes, you can. We're going to make that a little bit bigger for you. I know, right? Yay, names. So what I like to do is basically write out my styles in the console and then port them over to the actual file. I don't know if that's lazy. Maybe. So we've got the first problem that I see out of, yes, the many, many problems that exist. Our UL is pushing everything down. It's part of the page flow. No bueno. So I'm thinking we need to, I know I promised to style in the browser. Position fixed. Yeah, there we go. That's so sexy. We basically position fixed. We want to pull it out of the page flow. And then we're going to make sure that everyone can actually see the code you're typing. Herkadurk. So save that. So we pulled it out of the page flow. So now basically everything else plumps back on top of it. And the Z index is -1. So it's behind almost everything. It's not behind the body. So now we're going to, probably don't need to be this specific. UL names LI. So we want these names to be scattered about randomly in the background. So position relative. Is that right or is it absolute? I always get them backwards, like literally every time. Let's try putting them at like top, I think it might be absolute, top 50%. Saving, they're not moving. This is whenever I'm like, hey, let's just go to the console. And singing our debugging song. Okay, so we've got our UL that's position fixed, our LIs, instead of position relative, I think it's absolute. Yeah, that's totally what we want to say. Top of 50%. So we want them to be positioned based on the UL. And the UL of names is sitting, it's as you can imagine, its top left is right here, which we would probably prefer it to be as big, as wide, and as tall as our screen is. So let's just fix that real quick. Height of 100 view height and width of 100 view width. And then position fixed, the index, yes. Now all the names are stacked on top of each other. And I think we're just gonna go back to here, position fixed. Okay. Oh, bother. I have an extra curly brace and it broke the world. Okay. So we're going to go So we've got our UL. Let's make our Chrome like a smidge pidge, because that sounds good. That sounds happy. Okay, so we made our UL position fixed, height of 100 view height, width of 100 view width. And here is the fun part. What we want to do is randomly place the names in the background. And so at this point, this is when we need to use some SAS magic, basically. So SAS for loop, which I don't memorize these things, darlings. So we're going to look it up. And I'm going to make this font like a bajillion times bigger. So yes, I literally, every time I need one of these, I just look it up, because I kind of know like there's a for loop and there's an each loop. But as far as like having the syntax off the top of my head, that's a big negatory. So let's go in here and say, make sure first off that you can see our codes. I think you can. Perfect. Beautiful. Yeah, as Ed is saying, absolute is out of the document flow. Absolute requires you to set a top, left, right. And then relative is like when you're saying, hey, I want you to be relative to this. This is the parent you're listening to. But I don't know why I like have jokingly told my husband I need a tattoo that just like tells me like relative for the parent, absolute for the child, because it always flip flops in my mind. I'm like, wait, which one was which? So I either Google it or like you just saw, throw one on and then kind of see what works. So what was Pace saying? Have you tried the other dev tools? Oh, you guys are chatting amongst yourselves. Excellent. And something about Thanksgiving dinner. Okay, so for loop at for. We do need the I just for selecting the nth child from 1 through 50. We have 42 names. If I close that, yeah, let's do that. Gives us a little bit more happy space. So here's what we're doing. We don't know. I personally don't want any more than 50 names on the screen. So even if we are surrounded by like 1,000 people, because we have a huge company and they're all cheering with us, and you see like the gong number go up, up, up. I don't want to display 1,000 names, because then at that point it's like, it's mental overload. You can't really process that many things on the screen, mentally. It's just going to look cluttered and like, what is happening? And so I don't really want to have more than 50. So I'm going to write the SAS loop so that we are styling LIs up to 50. And at that point, either I'll have TJ only return us the top like 50, or we'll just randomly cycle through and select 50. So only display 50 names at a time. And so, yes, we're going to write the loop so that the styles exist. Even though we only have 42, that's fine. It just means there's going to be 8 selectors that aren't doing anything. But I want to basically allow for the ability to have up to 50 names that were being provided. So for I through 1 through 50, from 1 through 50. So now we need to say UL, I want to select the LIs. I don't know if I need to be that specific, but we're going to be names, LI. And now we need to use our index to say nth, because we're like, which LI am I grabbing? So nth child, and I'm just going to pass it the number. And I think we have to, Zach always reminds me, interpolation, because I'm like, why isn't this running? This is perfectly valid. And he's like, interpolation. So we have to, we need to interpolate the I here. So let's position them, see if it worked. So top, did I tab over enough? Feels like something feels funky to me. One moment, darlings. Tab, and yeah, I think that's right. So, raise your hand if you know about random. Again, I always have to Google it. So let's do that. Random sass function. Fun for function. So that's a thing. So I know that random is going to give us a number, but as far as remembering the units of said number, I'm always like, what is it returning again? So it should be, it starts at 1 instead of 0, updated random function natively built in. So I think it's a number between 0 and 1. So like a decimal between 0 and 1. So if we went and we said random, that's not exactly what we need. We want a percentage from like 0 to 100%. And so we're going to surround it by another fun percentage method function. Fun function. I think, did I do this right? So we are saying we need a random number from between 0 and 1, and we need that to be a percentage. So if it's 0.4, then that should be 40% is what we're thinking. And check the chat, make sure everybody's happy. Hello, by the way, if you're new and joining, Alyssa Nicoll here on Wednesday afternoons. I'm going to hop on and do some UI fun, which is what we're doing right now. It's fun. We are trying to display these names randomly in the background, which it is not working. What did I do? Okay, let's first of all select an li and see what's being applied to it. Okay, so it's very unhappy. It's like my syntax. Invalid property. Did I spell percentage wrong? I did. Percentage. Oh lordy. Percentage. It's like whenever I'm trying to like CD into my development folder so I can like clone something or open a project, and I always type our company name, which is progress, as progress. And I think I've been like so tempted because I type it wrong every single day. I just thought about renaming our company folder locally on my computer to progress because it's just because it's apparently what my brain wants to type. Turtle guy, percentage function would probably work better for this. Thanks, Turtle. That's my schmoopsy poo. He is across the room from me, and he's sarcastic as all get out. So we get to enjoy that. Your video window is covering the code. Oh no. I'm sorry, darlings. So it is. Is my face even necessary? As you can see, let's close the console for now so that we can get a little bit bigger of a Chrome happenings. As you can see, the names are, well, they're not scattered about randomly. Why don't you make an alias to substitute progress for progress? Oh my gosh. Can you imagine? Like, I die, right? And I don't know why somebody's like going through my aliases in my terminal. Like, what does she have set up? But like, progress for progress. And they're like, wow, she took the time to make an alias for that. I think about these things. I'm like, what legacy am I leaving? It's pretty sad. No, but that's actually a freaking excellent idea. I love it. Whoa. Schmoofy in Windows uses symlink for progress to the correct folder. So Ed, who's in the chat, he's my mate from the .NET side at work, and he has a new PC, and he brags because it does so well at streaming, and it can handle anything you throw at it. Like, he can be hosting 5 people and running VS Code, and it doesn't crash. And this is like amazing. So me and my other friends at work all are Mac users. And so it's funny that you mention Windows, Schmoofy, because I've been like dabbling with the idea. I'm like, could I do it? Could I get a Windows? But then I even think about things like I wouldn't have terminal, and does Node even work on Windows? Like, I have these thoughts. I've only ever used Mac, by the way, if you haven't guessed that. So So that Mac for life, TJ says. I thought all Mac users install Windows as the first app. That's funny. No, we do have Sam, who is on our advocate team, who runs a parallel, I think is what it is, with Windows on his Mac, and it looks like black magic. And I don't think it should be done personally. I think it's like, wow, your Mac is probably crying inside. So what were we doing? Yes. First problem I see is that it's our positioning. All of our names, they are random, and we're only telling them to be random based on the top. If I refresh, do they? Okay. 1 second. We're inspecting and making sure that you can. Yeah, let's bump up the font. Okay. So the problem that I see is that the UL is not where it should be, I don't think. Why can I not? All right, I'm going to select this and then drill down into the UL. So it's not at the top left. Am I telling it to be anywhere? No. So the reason our UL is not in the top left is because I'm not telling it to be? Question mark? Hang on, let's hover. I think that means it's working now. Okay. I'm like, hey, why isn't the UL in the top left? Oh, you have to tell it to be. Woof. Okay, top and left. Okay, I am going to put you back on top. Thank you, darling. So we put the top left in there, and we're going to get rid of this. And wow, our font size is massive. 0. Okay. Let's go ahead and grab our. Oh, if I take this off, I don't think so, because this is later. So it should be overridden anyways. There we go. Now we're seeing some start up higher, but I need to do the left position as well. Percentage. I'm like, dude, don't spell it wrong. Don't spell it wrong. Okay. Surprised I didn't get like some kind of weird underliney squiggle. Okay. I want this to be a bit smaller. Refresh. Let's see. So we're telling the LIs to have a random top and a random left. We're telling them to be positioned relative. What am I forgetting? Because it's not. Turtle, it's not as scattered as I'd like it. I'm guessing I could use like a number to offset it, but I'm like, there's nothing up in the top left corner, which makes me sad.
You can't refresh the page.
I can't refresh the page.
Because it only is going to do the random numbers on SAS compilation. So you have to change the SAS file if you want new random numbers.
I know. I was thinking that Turtle's saying I need to change the SAS file to recompile the SAS, but I thought there was a way to like, I know refresh isn't, but like, would hard refresh? No, still, it's not going to recompile. I have to. Yeah. Keep adding lines. So are we assuming it's just absolute randomness that they're not filling in up here? Because I feel like, no, I think it is. Because if we get rid of, yeah, I feel like they're like stopping at this point, and I don't know why. I'm going to pull up my Chrome window, put it on top, and open up the inspector because, yes, we do have the names. Yes, they're displaying randomly in the background, but I feel like let me go back here and show you this, do that, uncomment left. I feel like as we're telling them to be randomly placed in the top and the left, that they're not going behind this header, which I guess is okay. But in my mind, I want to tell them to be everywhere on the page randomly.
You might need to set the
Absolute instead of relative. I thought I did that. Didn't I do that? And then maybe I only did it in the console. Thanks, Turtle. Okay. They're still kind of concentrated. I keep refreshing, expecting the SAS to recompile. That's better. Okay, so it was just random that they were concentrated. Yeah. So we have names. Someone's telling me to hydrate, which is hello, shoes on 33.3. We have the names. They're in the background. They are randomly placed. Looks like I should limit the top and left to inside the view. What is the view, Schmoofy? Are we thinking they shouldn't go back behind the header? Is that what we're thinking? Because I was like, in my head, they were like everywhere. But now that I'm like seeing it, I'm like, ugly. I mean, given they're not animating, and I was imagining we would randomly tilt them, so pondering. But, you know, they're off the right of the page. Yeah, that's part of the fun. You're just like Turtle Guy. Turtle Guy was like, they're bleeding off the edge. And I'm like, yeah, I told them to. Like, okay. If we wanted them to not bleed, I think we would just subtract half of their width from left. Although I am planning on rotating them, which we could do that now. But once you rotate them, we could still subtract half their width from left to make sure they're not bleeding off the page. It might be a little bit overkill because if they're tilted, they're not going to need that much. Thinking. Let me think and inspect. Okay, this is the time when we pull up the Chrome, inspect, and it's a really large inspector. Okay. Let's go drill down into div root, div gong wrapper, UL names, select LI, Pinkie Pie. I can see you, and you are. Let's actually pick Trixie. Hello, Trixie. What is it? Transform, rotate. I think it's transform, rotate 45 degrees. I'm thinking I don't want them to go upside down. So I'm thinking I want to rotate. I think 45 is the most I'd want them to tilt. So from negative 45 to positive 45. Okay. Rotate names from... Oh, I just realized you cannot see my code. Excuse us, Chrome. Pardon me. Okay, so we want to rotate the names from negative 45 degrees to positive 45 degrees, which I know... I'm going to cut this and put it up here. We can do in this loop and use the eye, but what should I Google? Like limiting our... Basically, we need a function that's going to only give us numbers between negative 45 and positive 45. Turtle. Did I just Google this? I'm trying to think of the math. Maths is fun. Limit random number SAS. SAS random. Random function. Random 500 will return a number between 1 and 500. So if we say random 45, that would return a number between 1 and 45. So what if I did something where I said like random 90 and then I somehow... Turtle, I've done this before. What's the math for taking, if I say like random 90 and then you subtract 45 and then that'll make sure your range is from negative 45 to positive 45? Ooh. Subtract half. Yeah. Thanks, Turtle. I know this sounds absolutely absurd if you've never done this before, but basically what we want to say is transform. Can you see, first of all, can you see my codes? Yes, you can. Let's put it at the top. Transform, rotate, and we want to say random. And we want to get half minus 45. But then we have to, first thing we need to do, I think, is parse this chunk. And the next thing we need to do is slap a deg on it. D-E-G. So do I use interpolation for this or do I use like calc or neither? Actually, it'd be funny as if, or like just.
I think you need both.
I think I need. Turtle said you need both. Is that how you do it? Just plus the string, or no?
No string.
No string.
No plus.
And no plus. Mother of God. I'm like doing it like it's JavaScript. Okay. Okay, so you think we need both calc. So we want to calculate this. And then is the interpolation just around everything? Let's see. Because it's going to break. Let's go and look at it's broken. Is it refreshing? Yeah, the whole line just doesn't work. I'm just going to try it. And then we can all talk about how it didn't work. Do. Oh, it's not working. Rotate. What am I doing wrong? Invalid property. Value. Is the deg even needed? I think it is. Pretty sure it is. Let's go ahead and take first thing this and comment it out. And then let's just make sure random boop boop boop. Yes, let's make sure that works. It doesn't. Transform, rotate, random. So at this point, I don't think you need to pass in. I think if you don't pass something in, it's going to be, or maybe it, no, that's definitely not working. Transform, rotate. Why are you so, oh, because I don't have DEG on it. Can I just be like, here's a deg. Here, take this deg. Thank you. Feel free to jump in. I think it'd be rotate calc. Thanks, Turtle. Random. Okay, so Turtle in the chat says rotate, then you pass it calc, and then you have the interpolation. And you're putting degree on the 45. Interesting. Okay. Bum, bum. Listen, I will try any line of CSS once. So I think our interpolation is on the outside, and what Turtle is saying is that it needs to be on the inside. Around, is it around the whole thing? 1 second. Erase. Put that there. Get rid of that. I think it'd be rotate calc and then oh my God. It's making me nauseous. So maybe when I was like, yeah, 50 names on the screen, that's going to look good. Okay, so our rotating is finally working thanks to the help of a super CSS genius, aka Turtle Guy. My interpolation needs to be on the inside, then calc. And are we positive calc is needed? Let's just like watch it break really fast just to like humor Alyssa. I don't think it's needed. Is it needed? Let's change the CSS again. Man, this looks so good. And by so good, I mean woof. Okay. Turtle, I don't think calc is needed, but you can tell me if I'm totally losing my marbles. So let's look and see for fun what it would look like if we only had like 25. So someone do the math with me real quick. 25 minus 42 is 17. So we need to do 17 lines, and my names end on 98. So 98 minus 17 is 81. So I need to delete 98 through 81. That's better. Less. Oh my gosh, I'm going to have like an anxiety attack because so many people are crowding me around this gong feeling. Let's see. Let's put the Chrome on top, especially if we like put it like full screen. Let's put it full screen and then just play with the sass for a second and see if we can get it. Yeah, I mean, that's okay. I mean, it's not great that they're on top of each other, but I might just keep adding lines to the sass. But it definitely feels better with only 25 around the gong. Another thing, that we had talked about, right, was wanting to make sure it doesn't bleed off the screen. Let's first of all check chat. Sarah, Cranky Doodle Donkey might be my new alias. Yes. Oh, and Pace is headed out. Bye. Okay. So I think the next step is to move our names, because we don't want them bleeding. It might, I guess, help also with the scattered feeling, because we want it to be fun and playful, but we also don't want it to be like hella overwhelming. So let's make sure, I'm going to go back to, I need to make sure you can actually see. One moment, darlings. I'm moving things around. Okay, good. That's on half the screen. So now we're just going to take our Chrome and put it off to the side. Oh, and by the way, if you're like wondering, like, man, how many candies is she up to on my candy box game that's just running over here? Not a million. Basically, I can't stop until I have a million lollipops. And you might be asking yourself, why is that? Well, because there's this hat that I can buy from the sorcerer, but I just don't have the lollies for it. So anyways, back to reality. We need to go to, well, first of all, get rid of all these wonderful spaces that we made. Okay. Now at this point, we don't want them to bleed off of the right edge. So we're going to take so what I was thinking is we take the width, but without JavaScript, how do we get the width? I mean, I guess we could set the width. Turtle, I hear you evil laughing over there. He's evil laughing at me. I'm going to kill him. What's going to happen? Okay. Princess Celestia has like a really long name, and we're just going to do this. And then if it's like, oh, Alyssa, why did you do it that way? Well, we can talk afterwards about fixing it, but I just want to get something working where they're not bleeding off. So the first thing that I would try is, I don't want to use JavaScript to get the width of the names. So what I would do is I would set a width on the name. And so I would just choose a longer looking name, which I think actually Goldie Delicious looks really long, but where's She's long too. Okay, so Princess Celestia, and then at this point I'd be like, hey, I want you to be, and we can all make fun of Alyssa after it's working. But while we're getting it working, you're just going to have to follow the insanity. So I would literally be like, hey, you're 210 pixels wide. Let's make it 220 for a little bit more long of a name. And so now I have a width for you. And I know that like Turtle Guy and maybe everyone else who loves CSS is like twitching right now. Like their left eye is like going crazy. But what we're going to do is give the LIs a hard width just so that we know their width. And then I'm going to say, I always forget the difference between a Sass variable and a CSS variable. Like which one's which? Dollar sign question mark? Yeah, begins with a dollar sign. So close the documentation, go back over here. You're gonna hate it. You're gonna hate it, Turtle, but it's gonna happen. Name length. Actually, what is max length? I think if I set max, I think that would totally work. So instead of, it's like just, can you say max width? I've done max. Yeah, I think you can. So what we're gonna do is say max width instead of width, and set it equal to this variable that we're passing in. And what I'm going to do to make sure that it's actually working is change it to something ridiculous like 50 pixels. And then yes, everything should be going to 2 or 3 lines. So 220 again pixels. Now we have a width. So now we can say name name max length. So we're going to go over to left, talk to random, percentage, quit it highlighting. Make sure you can see, yeah, you can see me. Okay. And say minus this variable divided by 2. And I know I'm either going to need to interpolate or calc. Let's try calc, shall we? It's like my way of calc. CSSing is, let's break it all. Okay, so we've got the percentage. Name max length. I probably have to do this around the variable question mark. Also, there are times when I have to use where I don't know if I have to, but I have used a calc within a calc. And I'm like, is that even needed? I know calc is needed when you're going from 2 different units. So like if I'm trying to subtract pixels from degrees or something weird. It's still really unhappy with this line. Let's see. Ouch. This is where I get caught. It's whenever I'm trying to figure out the order for my CSS math. Okay, so one way is to one way to get past this hump is to simplify the line of math. So max width half. Wait, this one is I'm putting it inside of here. Let's put it up here with this variable. And then we'll literally take the name max length, divide it by 2. Not put a semicolon in the middle of it. Okay, so at this point, and I might need to do calc question mark. Let's see if this works. So let's take the max width that we're setting. And, well, first of all, let's get rid of this. Let's take the max width that we're setting and do max width half. So now when I go to an LI on my Chrome window, which I will plop nicely on top. Okay, so when we go to an LI, its width is confused. Why is it still saying width 220? Let me change this.
You did that in the inspector.
I did that in the inspector.
It has the max width on it.
Where? Okay, perfect. So I did that in the inspector. I hard refreshed, changed this to max width, and max width is showing up at 110 pixels, which is what half of it should be. So now that we have our max width half variable, let's go back over to left, and don't be afraid. We can totally conquer this line. And also, if you know it, like if you, I'm like putting my camera on the wrong part. If you know the answer, feel free to shout it out, chat, because me and 31 of you are all trying to figure out the left line here. Okay, so left, what I was doing was percentage and then random, which was working. And then what I wanted to do from that is subtract half of the width of the name. Well, let's comment out that scary line. Perfect. Failed to compile. So let's see. Percentage. SAS error, incompatible units. So since it's incompatible units, I think this is when we get to bring calc in for our fun times. Save. No error, but if you see in the, which I don't know if you can. You can. If you see in the console, she is still not happy. Okay. I know, but what do I interpolate? Just the variable? Turtle Guy's telling me to interpolate all the things. Oh, that worked. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Turtle Guy gets a ding dong. He really loves, what are they called? Little Debbies. And I never let him have them. So he totally, you too, chat, could have a Little Debbie mailed to you if you solved it. So just saying, just putting it out there. So I don't know if you saw that. So I'm going to actually go back and undo. So inside the console, when I save this, you'll see that it says this line that's invalid. It says max width half. So it's not actually getting the value for that. So when we go over to our code and we surround it with the hashtag and brackets, it interpolates that variable. And so we now have 110 pixels, which is like perfect and exactly what we wanted. Do we have to do it over here is the other question. The answer is yes, we do. Oh, I'm sorry about that, everyone. It should not have been that painful. I get things very confused. So let's brain this together. So we took the percentage of a random number. We're subtracting that from half of the max width that we're giving the names. And we have to interpolate both of those numbers. And because they're different units, surround it with calc, which I'm actually wondering if we get rid of calc now, like if we just needed two different interpolations. Yeah, we need calc, like hardcore, put it back and don't question it anymore. Like, it's like one of those things where you're looking through somebody else's code and you're like, what is this line? Is this line really needed? And you comment it out or remove it. And then the whole app breaks and you're like, put it back. Put it back. Like that's, yeah. We need the calc and we need both interpolations for this line. Excellent. Turtle Guy, since I'm not a barbarian, I think I'd set the random number to a variable and then check if it's greater than 0.5 or not, aka if it's on the right side of the screen or not. Gotcha. If it is, set the right property instead of the left, all within the loop. set the random number to a variable. Check if it's greater than 0.5. So you're basically saying, I see what you're saying. I love it. So you're saying knowing the width. Yeah, it bypasses the need for knowing the width. What Turtle is saying is he would solve it by looping through, grabbing the variable, and checking if that variable is over 0.5, half of the width of the screen. And if so, just position it from the other side so there's no way it's going to bleed. Do you think that would lead it to being more concentrated towards the center, though? Yeah, I think it would. I think that would mean our names were a little bit more center heavy, which, I mean, I personally, okay, first of all, yeah, I hate the wrapping. I'm not a fan of the wrapping. Sure, let's try it. We'll try this, and then I think it'll be the last thing we try. But when I come back next time, we'll go ahead and animate them in the background. I do apologize. It'll be a little bit of a shorter stream today. I'm on muscle relaxers for my back, and I think I can only take the L position, which is what I call seated, for so long. So before I just fall over dead. So let's do what Turtle suggested and see how concentrated in the center it is, and then we will wrap. And please, by all means, if you're like, hey, you should have done this to make this look better, send it to me at Alyssa Nicoll on Twitter, and we'll probably end up doing it on the next one. So let's right quick. I like to work in comments, and so the first thing we want to do is variable for the random number is a variable, Turtle. Oh, not that random. I was thinking of $I. Okay, I'm with you. Okay, variable for random number. If random is greater than 0.5, then position from the right. Okay, I think that is all we need to do. Otherwise, from the left. So now what this is going to allow us to do is get rid of the max width and these variables up here and this line right here. So inside or outside the loop? Inside the loop, we're going to set, what do we call it? Random? Random number? Yep, that sounds real good. Okay. So we want it inside the loop so that I'm assuming every time we hit a new iteration. I'm like, what is the word for it? Every time we hit a new iteration, we want the random number to recalculate, because otherwise they'd all be using the same random number. So random number equal to random. And then let's go ahead and make sure you can see my Chrome, because we are about to do all things Chrome. Okay. So what I want to do is say, sorry, I totally forgot what we were doing. Taking a random number. Oh, if in SAS. I don't think in is needed. If and else. My font is so large, you cannot tell what's going on. Okay, if circle. Wow, that was super simple. Seems like I should have known that, but hey. If a random number is greater than 0.5, and I literally just be like, right? Okay, we're getting rid of, let me just copy this line. We are, first of all, going to do it from the right. Second of all, we're going to get rid of this variable because we don't need it or want it in our lives. I think I don't know if we need to do calc or interpolation. I'm going to get rid of all of it and just see if it works. And then we also were using the variable of random, so we don't want a new number. And I'm assuming this is whenever turtles get out interpolation because it's a variable. And I just wish, like, I guess it wouldn't know. I was going to say anytime you used a variable, it would just interpret it for you. But the very first time that you use it, like, how would it know the difference between that and whenever you're using it? So, okay. Percentage random number, if right. Otherwise, we need to say left, and I think we get to literally just do what top is doing, but then we want to use the random number variable everywhere. I think I'm onto something, and I'm gonna let this be its own random number. I'm like so curious if it's Smoofy. Random number is random 90 minus 45. Is that for when we were talking about rotating? I'm assuming. Oh no! What have I done? Right? Hang on. Let's look. It's upset about this line. Is this the old you didn't wrap it in calc story? No, it's absolutely not. What is it saying? Left percentage. What are you so? Oh, no, it's now on the left. So yeah, I think that fixed that line. Calc. Herkadurka. You're welcome, world. That looks so good. Seriously, that looks amazing. Okay, well, let me look at what we're doing. If the random number is... Sorry, I literally am so dyslexic. Less than, greater than. So if the number is bigger than 0.5, I want to position it from the right side of the screen. That sounds right to me. I thought it would be... the back. I thought it'd be more centered and less completely on our left edge. Can't see your code. Oh, thanks, Schmoofy. Let me move this. Let me go ahead and get rid of the lines that we don't need. Right.
Left being an else.
Oh, you're so smart. Oh my gosh.
Smoothie just said it.
Yeah, Smoofy too. You guys are so smart. Duh. Okay, so because my left is not in an else, that it's being applied no matter what. So, wow. You guys are on freaking fire. At else? I assume. And also, should it be its own line? I don't know. You know, for like propriety's sake. Like, do we want it on its own line? Did it even... Wait. Why didn't that... Confused. Hang on. It's still very unhappy with us. If the random number... Inspect it. I'm going to need to go ahead and move my Chrome on top for an inspection time. Inspect. And let's see what's going on. Gong wrapper, names, UL-LI. What did I do wrong? Calc, percentage, hold. Let me take this out. So percentage, calc, yes, yes. Random number.
I don't think any of the calc or the interpolation.
You don't think I need the calc or the interpolation? Oh, for the left and the right? Da, da, da. Okay, so that worked for left. Let's get rid of... I never know. I never know if I need to interpolate. Calc, I'm like, okay, it's 2 different units. Try to remember to use calc. But interpolation, I'm like, does the variable need it? Does it not? Are you happy with me? Okay, so apparently, let's check some others. So Twilight Sparkle is on the right. Pinkie Pie is on the right. Is everyone on the right? Nope. Some are on the left. What's wrong? Apple Bloom is on the left. But still we say...
You need to subtract 0.5 before you apply it on the right.
Subtract 0.5 before I apply it on the right. Gold Zulu, you need to put a value. Okay, I'm almost about to die. So, it's really hard to logic when you're in pain, but I'm going to try. We are saying if we are greater than 0.5, start from the right side of the page. I'm still not getting why we need to subtract 0.5. Because we are saying we don't want it on that side of the page?
Because it's applying right 50% to 100%, so it's going to put it on the far left.
So it's applying right 50% to 100%, so it's going to put it on the far left. I need it to be 0 to 50%. Oh, yeah, 0 to 50%. So at this point, we say... Oh, you can't see the code. Ha, ha, ha. Hip, hip, hooray. So at this point, we need to say random number... Yeah, minus 0.5, because that's before we turn it into a percentage. So it's like saying minus 50%. But I think we need to calc. What is random number? Yeah, no, they're the same unit. Should work. Beautiful. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, you guys. It's actually working. I mean, it's as working as we've told it to be. Just gonna like keep doodling. I love it. I absolutely love it. I mean, it obviously... Snoofy says cool. Oh. Yeah. So I'm going to put the code up one last time before I push up to a different repo and ask for a merge. But basically, we have our list of names. And they are displaying in the background. They're surrounding us while we ring said gong. And they're at different angles. I think the next step that we shall tackle next week is obviously we want to animate them somehow. I'm thinking since it is so cluttered, like maybe the best way to go about it would be to like bring them in on gong ring. And then like fade them out whenever the gong's done ringing. So it's like these people are ringing the gong with you. Or maybe they're always there and they just kind of like shake back and forth or something while the gong is ringing, like they're all excited. I don't know. Send me your ideas. Basically, the goal is to, again, make you feel like you're surrounded by friends and colleagues while you're celebrating this win, right? So you're seeing the names of the people who are around you. But at the same time, I don't want it to look so ludicrous that it's like, okay, I'm actually going to get a seizure from this. So I think maybe making it not go behind the header would help with that. Maybe we do a little less harsh of angles. Instead of from 45 to 45, we do 15 to negative 15. I don't know. Send in your ideas at Alyssa Nicoll, ALYSSA. Nicoll on Twitter or Kendo UI. So next time, because I want to make this look pretty, because we are actually planning on releasing it to our company internally so we can all use it. and I do not like where it's at right now. I had this idea in my head of like these hovering names, but I think we have to kind of limit where they're hovering. I think someone suggested earlier. So should we raid? Absolutely. Thanks, Gold Zulu. And thank you, everyone, Smoofy and all the others for joining in and hanging out today while we do some UI fun. Yeah, let's do a raid, Sarah. Who are we raiding at this moment in our lives? And I'm making like a note right now. It's like, fix mono audio, please. I shall come through beautifully. Yeah, bald bearded builder. He's really awesome. Too early before my stream starts. If not, you can raid me. Oh, Zulu, I'm totally going to go look you up after this. I don't think I follow you. I'm Speedo Girl, by the way, in any video game and also on Twitch. So if you see me in the chats, that's my code name. Okay, so yeah, let's raid the bald bearded builder. Thank you so much, everyone. I'll see you next Wednesday.